Welcome back to the dojo, y'all. Welcome back to the daily discussions. It's probably gonna be my last video in this particular location because I'm gonna be moving tomorrow. I'm gonna be moving to Indiana. I've been saying this a little bit, but you know what I mean? It's official. Tomorrow I'm gone. But the topic of discussion for today, you can't really do what you want. You know what I mean? When you a kid, you get more leeway and freedom to do the things that you want, even though your parents give you restrictions. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Not in my house. You better not say this, you better not do that. You know what I mean? Okay. Outside of that, you really can do all the things that you want. You can go outside and play, you can hang out with your friends, ride your bikes, whatever. You can have a good time. But when you get older, you start wanting to do different things. And one, if you don't have the money, you can't really do anything. That's just plain and simple. If you ain't got the money, you can't do anything. Then it's like, if you get a job, it's certain things you cannot do once you get a job. Like, you can't just show up to work wearing anything you want. You gotta adhere to the dress code, you know what I mean? The rules and regulations of the establishment that you work for. Then, outside of that, there are laws that you have to adhere to as well. You can't just go out there and do whatever you think you big and bad enough to do. You gotta follow the rules. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by you can't really do what you want, because there's always rules and regulations that you have to follow. You know what I mean? This comes with being an adult. The people who couldn't follow the rules, they either locked up or they're no longer here anymore. Either, you know what I mean, the wages of sin is death. So when you look at that picture, you realize, damn, bro, I can only do but so much. I can't do what I really want to do. And even online, you can't even say the things that you really want to say. You know what I mean? There's people who like to say all types of crazy shit in the comments, and they can get away with it because there's no rule saying that they can't say it. But there are some things that you cannot say on YouTube. You will get banned, you will get canceled, and all types of shit. I see a little bee flying around. It's getting on my nerves. Okay, it flew away. Not completely, but it got away from me. Just keep going, little bee. All right, get out of here. But yeah, man, like, as you age and you get older, you realize there's certain things you just can't do. It may be that your body can't keep up. You know what I mean? Certain things you can't do. You can't really do what you want. You might want to run a marathon, but you got asthma or something. You know what I mean? You can't really do what you want to in this world. You can only do what you can or what you're allowed to do. That's really what I'm saying. Fucking flies and shit. You know what I mean? This world teaches you really quickly that you have to follow the rules. You can't make up your own rules. No such thing. Many people who came before you, they set up the laws, rules, regulations, statutes, articles, and stuff like that, to whereas people gotta behave a certain way in society. Because that's what we live in. We live in a society, right? So in this society, you're only allowed to do but so much. We have freedom of speech to a degree. You can't yell fire in an auditorium and there's no fire. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't really do what you want to. You have to follow the rules. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. Just because you ain't know it was a law, don't mean you can get away with it. You know what I mean? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So when we talk about this subject matter, you can't really do what you want. You can only really do what you're allowed to do. How do you know what you're allowed to do? Just look up the laws. You know what I'm saying? Or just get in trouble enough and you'll figure it out that way too. You know what I mean? You can't just be out here selling drugs all willy-nilly thinking you're not gonna get caught. I watched a video yesterday of somebody who just got out of prison and is going right back because they wanted to sell drugs. You know what I mean? There ain't no easy way out either. You can't always be taking an easy way out. Sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and do what you have to do. That's what I mean. Even in adult life, there are things that you have to do to sustain yourself. And if you don't do them things, watch what happens to you. Oh, you got a nice paying job? Watch what happens if you don't go to work. Just watch what happens. Oh, I don't feel like going to work today. All right, well, you run the risk of losing your job. You can't do what you want to do. You got to follow the rules. You got to subscribe and support this system that was put in place before any of us were born. You know what I mean? It sucks, bro. I got a good friend of mine. He sent me a text message earlier today. And he was like, yeah, the job that I work at, they do random drug screenings. I was like, damn, bro. He said, I'm in the same situation as you. I didn't really get it when he said it, but he's basically going to have to stop smoking. You know what I mean? I stopped smoking just because I chose to. I was like, I want better for myself, so I'm just going to stop smoking. Now, he's in a situation where he's forced to. He probably was enjoying his time where he could smoke freely or whatever, and now that's no more. If he want to support his family, he gotta handle his business. Gotta put it down, bro. Gotta decide what's more important, taking care of your family or satisfying your wants. You know what I mean? That's what I realized about getting older, bro. You don't get to do what you want. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's really it. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's not so much about what you want or what you choose to do. Shoot, man, when you sign that contract, you basically signing your life away, because when you work for a corporation or a business, you know what I mean, you gotta follow the rules on and off the clock. Oh yeah. You gotta follow the rules on and off the clock, because whether you realize or not, you're a representation of that company while you're on the clock or while you're off the clock. That's the luxury. No, I shouldn't say luxury. That's the trade-off of when you sign them contracts. Because you gotta think about a contract. Like, what does the word con even mean? It don't mean nothing good. You know what I mean? You gotta look at these words that we use. Contract. Concave. Con man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do they call them? Prefixes. When you put something on the beginning of a word, prefixes and suffixes, they have meanings. You know what I mean? So con usually means something that's not good. And when you sign a contract, you're in a situation, a binding agreement, where you have to adhere to those rules and regulations. You cannot do what you want to anymore. You have to follow these guidelines and these rules and regulations if you're going to keep this job or you're going to keep this employment or what have you. You know what I mean? That's what being adult is realizing. You don't really have no freedom. You got to do what you got to do. And I can say this a million times and it might not get to you because I'm having a little bit of trouble today articulating myself because I got a lot going on in my mind. But still, bro, the adult world will show you really fast that you can't do what you want. You got to do what you got to do. And that's basically it, bro. That's why it sucks being an adult. You have more freedom as a child. The only authority you really have is your parents and your legal guardian. But when you become an adult, the authority is now the law. The law is the authority over you. And the law says there's a lot of things that you can't do. You gotta follow the rules, buddy. You gotta do what you're told. You gotta adhere to the guidelines. You can't do this and you can't do that. And you better not even think of doing that over there, because it's curtains for you. You're going to be up out of here. You're going to be out of a job. You're going to be out of a situation that was beneficial to you. That's the way of the world. Now, some people, they may not even realize it. They like, well, I didn't care about doing those things anyway, so there's no sweat off my back. But there's going to come a point in time you're going to want to do something and you ain't going to be able to do it because you got obligations that you have to attend to, or you may have responsibilities, like you may have kids. You know what I mean? You may have kids and you may not be able to take a trip when you want to because you got to pay for 3-4 people. You know what I'm saying? Can't do what you want to do, man. You cannot do what you want to out here. You gotta do what you're told, and you gotta do what you gotta do for your survival and the survival of your progeny. It really truly does suck when you can't do the things you really want to. And sometimes money will dictate what you can and cannot do. If you don't have the money to do it, you just can't do it. You can't afford it. You know, we being priced out of so many different things in life because the cost of living is escalating at an alarming rate. Groceries and all that, electric bills, gas bills, housing, property taxes, everything is going up. Soon it's going to be to the point where you can't do nothing. All you can do is go to work and maybe eat a couple of meals, because now you can't even afford to buy bread. I think it says somewhere in the biblical teachings that there will be a day where a loaf of bread will cost a whole day's wages. You know what I mean? We rapidly approaching those times, bro. I don't know if y'all see it. I don't know if y'all paying attention, but yes, we are rapidly approaching them times when you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. I don't know if you heard about the 15-minute cities where everything that you need will be within 15 minutes of where you stay, and there will be a multitude of other people that live in this community with you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's going to be like everybody's in a prison. You can't go outside of the parameters of your 15-minute city. That's something that's coming. Whether y'all been paying attention or not, that's something that's coming. 15-minute cities, please look it up if you've never heard it before. 15-minute city. Just Google it. Just ask ChatGPT or whatever AI you like to use, bro. I'm sure they'll be able to tell you exactly what it is. Better than I can. You know what I'm saying? So, as we live these lives, as bullshit as they are, you're going to come to the realization of all the things that I've said across these daily discussions, because all I really wanted to do was just tell y'all what's going on, giving y'all my perspective on life and the human condition and situations that we find ourselves in. You know what I'm saying? Like, life isn't fair. Unfortunately, life is not fair, bro. And we all got to follow these rules and regulations if we want to have any type of life at all. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way that it is. And there's nothing anybody can do about it, bro. Even the president can't do whatever he want to do. He got people that he gotta listen to. Even like the the separation of powers. You know what I'm saying? I believe that's what it's called, the separation of powers. Like, the president can't just sign anything into law. He will be a dictator. He's got to go through Congress and the House of Representatives and all that other stuff. So even if the president can't do what he want to do, how much more is that true for you? You got to follow the rules too. You can't just do what you want to out here. And I hope I made it clear. I hope I articulated my point to where it's understood, because that's the reality of these lives that we live, bro. We really cannot do what we want to do. Some people that's homeless, they can only do but so much. Yeah, they got more freedom than most of us, but it's hard for them to wash themselves. It's hard for them to get a good night's rest, because they got to be worried about people trying to run up on them and beat them upside the head with a bottle or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Can't do what you want to do. You got to adhere to the system, bro. You gotta contribute to the system. We all slaves, bro. As much as I hate to say it and hate to admit it, that's the reality of the situations that we find ourselves in as adults, bro. We slaves, bro. You can't do what you want to do. I hope and pray that there comes a time when we can, but what would the world look like if people could do whatever they wanted to do? There'd be a lot of people that'd be getting unalived. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality, bro. It's already happening in the hoods all across America. People playing with guns and shit, losing their freedom, losing their life. You know what I mean? Can't do what you want to do. Can't just go out here and say, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. No. There's rules and regulations at every stage, at every place of life, bro. And nobody's exempt from these rules, bro. Not a single one of us. So, like I said before, I hope I articulated it. I hope I made it clear to you that we really can't do what we want because we live in a society, we live in a system that has a lot of rules that you have to follow. And if you get out of line, you're going to be checked on it. You're going to be put in a prison. You're going to be put in a jail. You're going to be locked up. And then you really ain't going to be able to do nothing you want to do. You're going to be told what you can and cannot do, as opposed to you getting the freedom to choose some of the things that you can do, as opposed to nothing. You know what I mean? That's the reality. And with that being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. I hope you're waking up every day with a plan, a purpose, and a smile. If you're not waking up with a plan, a purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you're waking up. Till next time, y'all. Class dismissed.